Welcome, everybody, to the Follow Brand Podcast. This is your host, Grant McGaw. We're going to talk about a very interesting subject today. A lot of people have heard of SEO, search engine optimization. So when you're creating certain content, you want to make sure it's SEO ready, so it's searchable, so people find it. You want to be top of the feed, like in search engines like Google, Bing, and the like. But things have now changed with AI. That's just overtaking a lot of different things, right? A lot of people are going to a ChatGPT, a Perplexity, a Gemini, a Claude, and the like first before they're going to Google. So how do you now rank in that kind of setting? We're going to ask these kind of questions to Kevin Roy, who is a visionary in this field. He's very innovative. I want to get him up to the stage right now so we can talk about this because this is important information. So, Kevin, you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Kevin Roy, Green Banana SEO. It's our 17th year now doing search engine optimization, and we have a full-on answer engine optimization process and protocol that I'm just excited to talk about.
Well, we got to talk about it because now you said 17 years and you've been and I figure you've been ahead of the curve when it comes to performance-based SEO, search engine optimization. But what I want to know is what inspired you to break away from traditional models and then, this is important, guarantee results.
Mm-hmm. So we'll start with, we never guarantee results. We guarantee that if we get you ranked, you pay. If we don't get you ranked, you don't pay. Right. So that's when clients call and say, I absolutely have to be on page 1 next week and this keyword, I'm like, great, we have a Google AdWords program for that. So how I got into it, so we had been doing SEO like everybody else, which is time materials. We're writing good content, building good links. It's changed a lot in the last 16, 17 years. But we were doing it for about 2 years, and we still have, but this one of our clients, we had a larger client, and I had to go in and present to the boardroom, all of the stuff that we've been doing, and I had spent all night crafting this, what I thought was absolutely spectacular pamphlet of data of all the stuff that we're doing, all the stuff that we had been doing for them, and handed it out to everybody. And I'm not kidding. I spent literally all night. I remember I had gone to Staples, and I was collating things at like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I brought it into them and showed it to them, and they looked at me and said, "So what are we paying you for again?" and I realized that when you're talking about late semantic indexing, schema, metadata, keyword quality, content, linking, to a room of exceptionally intelligent executives, it's all white noise. Right. So in the middle of the meeting, I said, how about this? I know I can rank you for these keyword phrases. I get you on page 1 for these, you pay me. If I don't get you on page 1, you don't pay me, but I'm never doing this report again because I spent all night building this report. And they're like, great, let's do it. And I came back and said to the team, I either made a massive mistake or I think we have a great model. And so that's really what did it, because if you're following the rules that Google puts out and doing things that are generating quality content and generating high quality links that are pointing back to the page and following some the solid SEO principles, you're going to rank. It takes a while, but you're going to rank for those keyword phrases. That save if someone came in and said, hey, I have a brand new dating site, I want to outright Match.com, by the end of the year, we're going to say, well, Match.com has 4 million links and you have 0, so it's going to take us a while. We're not going to get you on page 1 overnight.
Very important to understand and set expectations early and understand what you're doing. Big risk, but yet you have the confidence to knowing what you're doing. And you could take it to the next level. And we're going to get paid because we know we can make this happen. We're going to make it done. Now, you've also said that traditional SEO isn't enough anymore. So I would like you to, because this is the big elephant in the room right now. We know you've mastered, you understand the Google algorithm, you understand where you're at and all the rankings that are there, what it takes to get on that first page, those first 10 blue links or whatever it may be is very important because that's where you want to, your ad spend, people are going to, you get eyeballs onto what you're doing in the right audience. Now, can you explain what LLM SEO, that's large language model SEO is, and how it transforms the way businesses should now think about visibility?
So that's a great question. I think I would start by saying that as of June, 60% of Google's 405 billion searches a month, so about 260 billion searches a month, are now zero-click searches. So what that means is that they're getting the answer and not having to click on anything.
Yeah.
So we're seeing in your like everyone that's listening to this is probably seeing a drop in some of their organic traffic. So even if they're on page one, number one for something, then they're seeing, even if you're popping in the answer engines, you're seeing a little bit of a drop, but you might get more direct traffic or more calls or more mentions. So it's important that you pop up in the top of a Grok or a Chat or a Gemini or a Claude search. Those engines are looking for different things, but to kind of assuage everybody, we're finding that if you're following the proper principles of generating good content and having high quality matching links that go to the page that you're trying to rank, those people seem to be doing a lot better in the answer engines than people that haven't done that. There are things the answer engines are looking for, like schema or markup language. I guess for people that don't know what that is, you Google Taylor Swift tickets, and the ticket prices and the venues are going to come up in the search bar, right?
Yeah.
Right in the search. That is markup language that's on your page. The user can't really see that part of it, but the Google is pulling that out and sticking it up in the SERP or the search result. So what we're finding is that the answer engines seem to be looking at that faster, having more access to it, or maybe they're just more comfortable with it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're pulling information from there. So we're spending more time making sure that we have quality content and quality questions and answers in the schema as well as on the page.
Oh. Q&A. So question and answer, because you said something, I like how you frame that. Because we were talking about this earlier. What do you call this now? LLM SEO. You said answer engine. So you look at an LLM as an answer engine. It's responsive and it's going, and to your point, when you let's say even you Google something, the first thing that pops up is something probably straight out of Gemini, right?
Yeah.
And it creates your eyes. You're probably going to go read through that. And either you're mentioned as a source, or now do you have a clickable link in that little box up there? Because people may not be scrolling down.
Yep. You do have a clickable link in the box if Gemini and Chat and Claude, they decide to show that link. I know that Google has actually outpaced now ChatGPT and how in the complexity and the thoroughness of Gemini, and it's probably because they don't want to lose their revenue for search. And so now inside of Google AdWords, you can actually pay and sponsor and be in those top pieces with your link. That's rolled out a couple months ago, and it's becoming more and more popular. But I think so one of my favorite quotes, and when you asked about questions and answers and why that's important, one of the favorite quotes that I've heard this year is that the large language models were built by linguists, not developers. So the developers are powering it up, right? Using things to create agents, and but the linguists created the large language models. So that's conversational. It's asking a question and answering a question. It's not best pizza Boston anymore. It's where can I get the most delicious deep dish pepperoni pizza in Boston, and it's going to go out and try to answer that question for you.
This is important understanding because what I heard there, and a lot of people I know they're tuning in, they're leaning in right now because this is hot. And you need to understand your ad dollars or where you want to position your business to get the most amount of opportunities out of your efforts. So you mentioned something like how do businesses actually get their brand mentioned in whether it's ChatGPT or Claude or a Gemini, because this is important. And you also stated Google does not want to lose their ad spend because that's a huge revenue source for them. So is there a way to reverse engineer that so that you're in both locations?
Yes. So there are tools. There's a tool that we use called. I don't get any. I have no affiliation with this company. I just think it's a great tool. I don't love the name. I shouldn't say that, but it's wakeai.io. And what that does is you can put your company in, you can put your top two competitors in, and it will tell you, hey, Chat, Claude, Perplexity, Sonar, Gemini are looking for this type of content to answer questions about your brand that they're finding on your competitor's site, but not finding on yours.
Ah.
So, for example, we have a really large client that doesn't spend a lot of time talking about pricing on their website, and the language models to create a story about their company are looking for pricing, and they're not seeing it, and their competitors are addressing that. So, when what we're seeing is that like Chat, Perplexity, Claude, Sonar, Gemini are trying to create a complete story about you so they can answer the question. So they're trying to get as much detailed information about your product or your service, so that they can create a story to give proper input back to the user.
What you said
Yeah.
so important there. Story versus just information. That's what I got out of that. Like when you do a Google search, well, you're really just getting information or potential information. It's not really storyline, right? It's just information. It's links. It's there. If it captures your like that one sentence hook that captures your attention, and then you click on it, like I said, non-clickable links. You just said that. You go to that first box that you're seeing, and then it's story life. Well, people love stories, right?
Right.
If it's and you know how the algorithm is working. It wants a complete story. It wants a good story within that probably like a paragraph or two, maybe, and it's there. And then you want your company to show up there, obviously, because that's where the eyeballs are. Because if people again aren't scrolling down as much, you've got to have the information right there. So many leaders, I think, still think that ranking on Google is the ultimate finish line. My question to you is, what are they missing about where search is really headed in the AI era?
So search, from everything that I spend a significant amount of time every week keeping up with the AI trends. I'm also really fortunate enough to be part of the SEO mastermind group, and we're always sharing information when we meet once a week. What we're the general consensus is that Google is going to keep their location or their GDP information because they do really well with that. They're making a lot of money on that. They may actually get rid of the links at the bottom of the page. So that is a cause for a lot of debate to whether they're going to get rid of that and then pop the information just in the answer engine up top. Wow. So that's something that people have to think about and say, hey, I really want to make sure that that my brand is strong and that I'm creating a complete story about my service or my brand, so that these answer engines are getting all the information about me. So one of my favorite analogies is the peanut butter and jelly analogy. Yeah. So imagine if you and I want to rank for the how to make the best peanut butter and jelly sandwich. We're going to create a comprehensive page about how to make the best peanut butter and jelly sandwich. But then we're going to create a page about bread, a page about jelly, and a page about peanut butter.
Mhm.
And on our bread page, we're going to go and say, here's how to make the best bread. And here's where to get the best high quality flour. And, here's where to get the best eggs, to go in and make that bread. So we're going to tell this story that creates a complete picture for, you know what? This really is the best peanut butter and jelly sandwich because I know absolutely everything there is to know about how to make one.
This is important. Now, let me ask you, and how is that different from traditional SEO, where you're making sure you have the right words, the right, phrasing? Is it similar or different?
It's actually similar. So one of the methodologies that we use is we go and look at everybody that's on page one for a specific keyword phrase and look at the content that they all have that's similar. The keywords that are so when Google is looking at a page, peanut butter and jelly sandwich, for example, in order to tell a story about peanut butter and jelly sandwich, it needs to see the word bread, it needs to see butter knife, it needs to see crust, it needs to see oven. It needs to see the word spread, right? So it's trying to formulate like why is this the most important page for this specific keyword phrase. So we extract all of those keywords that are mentioned the most frequently and then build a page using that. We call it a recipe of the keywords to write our content. We find that the language models are looking for the same thing, but it's because they're trying to complete the story. They're trying to get an entire story on that specific piece of content. So a lot of times if you're building your pages that way, you're probably in a really good spot. What's not going to work is if you're just over repeating a keyword phrase on a page, which actually still works to rank for, but it's not telling a story. It's not giving the person enough information. Um, if you want to go down the rabbit hole on this, I think an important thing to think about isn't just um, getting people to the page, but getting them to convert.
Yes.
And that's where you want to have that. So those digestible bites, the really important information up top. Then you can dump all the FAQs and all the keyword density down in the bottom of it. So the language models fortuitously like those. So a lot of the pages that we've been building, I think we might have just gotten lucky, and and they're looking at a lot of the
Well,
same
you're on the
things, right?
right
Yeah,
track, and
yeah.
it flowed there. But I like how you just said, because there's a model that's out there, right? Especially in sales, we all understand it. Usually, you're creating awareness about your program, right? And then you get consideration for your if they're in the market to buy, and then you
Hmm.
convert. So
Yeah.
understanding that conversion model, I think, is so important because ultimately that's what you want as a business. You're
Right.
spending especially if you're doing paid advertisement, maybe you have some organic traffic, but ultimately you want them to convert, either pick up the phone, give you an opportunity to present your product or service. I think that's important. Here's
100%.
my question for you. And in my case, I am a small business. And if I am a small business owner and I'm listening to me and you right now, what's the one action, the one thing that I could do this week to improve my visibility in AI driven search?
Okay. If you're a small business and if you're a service business, I haven't addressed this yet, but you need to focus on reviews and answering or responding to your reviews with if you're a location-based business, with a location and your service-based or your product-based keyword.
Mhm.
So to the best of my knowledge, Google gives as much credit for a review as a review reply.
Mhm.
So it's going to sound corny, but Grant, I'm really happy that you were excited about our kitchen remodel in Minneapolis. Next time you're looking for someone to upgrade your kitchen, or please think of us again. We've enjoyed working with you. So I'm putting a keyword phrase and I'm putting a location in the response.
Yes.
When people say that sounds really corny, I say, do you want to make money or do you want to be okay being corny? right?
Well, to your point is that there's machine language and there's human language in a conversational style. What is the machine? Because ultimately, you want the platform to amplify your message. You
Right.
want to amplify yourself within your target audience so that they see it. And I love, the advice you just gave is awesome because a lot of you don't realize, well, how do you, you may be ranking on Google, you're there, but are you optimized on the platform so that it's showing it to as many eyeballs that it can to get you to a point like you said. If I'm looking for the best peanut butter and jelly service provider in my area, you need to be there. And like you
Right.
said, your story needs to be there. It's not just okay, yeah, they provide it, but then you go into depth about it, and then it makes me want to go buy it. I'm going to go drive over there or order it or have it sent to me or whatever it may be. It's going to convert. I think
Mhm.
that's so important. Now, here's the question: what mistakes do most agencies make when it comes to AI search optimization, and how can business owners protect themselves from empty promises?
So I don't know what mistakes that they're making because I'm really not paying any attention to looking at what competitors are doing because we're just trying to produce the best results for
Yeah.
our customers. But using a tool that can talk about how many times you're cited in an AI model, and then looking at that, are we being cited more or are we being cited less? Another thing, um, I, if you know anything about me, you know that I'm a huge fan of data that cannot be skewed,
Hmm.
and that's Google Analytics.
Okay.
Um, so I don't have enough money, power, and influence to tell Google Analytics to change the data to make it look better on a customer's website. Right? I don't think anybody does. Well, I'm not sure there are some people that it's not me. Um, so they're starting to pull in clicks from Grok, clicks from Perplexity, clicks from Gemini, clicks from ChatGPT in the traffic acquisition tab.
Hmm.
So that will, even though we mentioned that there's a lot of zero click searches and people aren't clicking, some people are still clicking. So you can look at, hey, I've been working with this company. I'm getting more clicks in ChatGPT than I've ever done before.
Yeah.
You know, and so even if you don't, when you look at their reports, because there's so many different types of reporting, the one that we use is great. Is it the best? There may be better ones. Um, is it? Uh, I have to trust the creators of the tool for the accuracy.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about when I look in Google Analytics if that data is valid, right? If that is true coming from Google. So you can always look at Google Analytics, and albeit the number will be smaller, seeing if you're getting more interactions from those engines.
I think that's important. I know in my world, especially in information technology, cybersecurity, we always use these two words: trust but verify.
Yeah,
No,
right.
trust but verify. So if you can get verifiable statistics and analytics, you just pointed that out. Google Analytics doesn't lie; it doesn't need to.
No, no.
So it's not competing from a agency standpoint. My question for a green banana is that how did you position yourself to become the SEO agency AI platform that now becomes actually recommended in these engines?
Um, our clients kept asking us for it. And so we have a lot. We were really fortunate to have a lot of great clients that we collaborate with. We kind of work with our clients as partners. So we like to think of ourselves as an extension of the team, and they're sharing as much data with us as we're sharing with them. And all of our more aggressive clients have been saying, we need this, we need this, we need this. So it's something that I had to really, as the resident SEO geek at Green Banana, I had to, you know, deep dive and figure out how it could start appearing in all of these answer engines. And what was fortuitous is a lot of the stuff that we were doing already was what were the things that I was reading as recommendations.
This is important. I want to ask you this because now we're kind of morphing now into agentic AI. You have agents. There's a lot of
Mhm.
automation, orchestration taking place. So you may not be the human HI intelligence actually looking things up anymore. Have you
Right, right.
optimized for that?
So we're optimizing for all of the engines that are using the agents. The thing about an agent, well, one thing that's going to be exceptionally difficult to track as it moves on is if you have an agent on your machine and I have an agent on my machine, it is very personalized. It is reading all my emails if I wanted to. It is looking at my calendar. It is looking at my social media channels. It is getting, and that's something you could go on for weeks talking about how frightening that is. But so it's giving you personalized information. So a search on your computer and a search on mine are going to be different with the output. But we're still going to know what gets mentioned the most. Like one of the things that Gemini has done, Google's product, is that there is training that when they show their reporting, they show training data and grounded data. Training data is all the information that the answer engines already have. They've already compiled about you. The grounded data is they're actually using Google to go do research. So they're continually pulling information from Google to increase the training model that they have to get more information for that. So that's really important. That I think if you continue to focus on high quality SEO, high quality content, high quality links, not link farm junk, you're going to do really well on these things.
Good advice for people trying to understand, get a handle on this change that's happening, because the machine-to-machine language is just becoming dominant. The conversations, the types of things that you need to do to get the visibility that you're looking for and the conversion that you're looking for. Now you have worked across industries from biotech to retail. My question is, what lessons about brand growth and then customer connection have proven universal throughout your experience?
One phrase: people buy from people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's that human connection. That's why social media is so important. That's why a lot of people are getting great information from Reddit and Substack and Quora. People buy
Mm-hmm.
from people.
See, we got to double down on that. I want people to understand. Not like I said, I've been in information technology for probably 30 years, and I worked for companies like Avaya that were big into customer service engines, the CE world when it came to platforms. Yeah, I remember the first voicemails were even coming out and that type of thing. Automation is good to a certain degree, but we always knew that the purpose of the technology is to enable a human to human connection as quickly as possible.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to substitute, or keep the human always talking to it in AI, so to speak. AI, you could define that. It's been around for a long time. Anytime you interacted with any kind of
That's true. I think,
natural
yeah,
language
that's important.
processing, boom.
Yeah.
But it also proved to be it can have negative impact as well, because there's dissonant, there's social dissonance there. People still like talking to people. So when we go into this AI and agentic AI world, and people are like, oh, that's great, yeah, but you can also distance yourself from your client, and then you're not really interacting with them. You're interacting with the machine. As far as I know,
Right.
machines don't have money, but I guess maybe digital currency, maybe they do. Maybe they start buying things on your behalf. But I think
Right.
there might be a little bit of oversight on that. Tell
I
us
think it's,
more about what you think about that HI to HI interaction, and you is just enabling that interaction.
I so I think so when you're writing content, you want to have authorship of that. So I don't, there's something that a principle that Google is really pushing years ago, and it's still really prevalent. It's called EAT. It's the, um, expertise, experience, authority, and trust.
Mhm.
And so I think actually it's probably a brilliant way for them to try to mitigate some of the AI generated content by having people take authorship or ownership of that content.
Mhm.
So it was really big in finance and health when it first started coming out. So they weren't even ranking sites that didn't say, hey, here's the doctor that published this, and here's the school that she went to. Right.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
looking for things like that. So when you're writing content, you become an author. And a good super secret hack to this is you put your author page on your bio and LinkedIn. So Google is going to say, hey, we trust LinkedIn. It's a really big, high authority publication. It mentions your author page and it links back to the author page on your site.
Yeah.
So you're giving yourself a high quality direct link to that. And it's you're giving your authorship a little bit more credibility.
Mm-hmm. I think that's so important. It's me as a personal brand strategist. I've been known as a personal brand guru. Like I think I got ranked so far in the top 30 on Global Gurus just here in 2025, which I like. And I've been preaching this for a while, especially my knowledge and understanding how machines actually work. Is that you've got to give it the right data. You have to give it the right data from a personal brand perspective. You create the digital footprint so that when Google, let's say you Google Grant McGaw, I know exactly the information that's going to come up. And I'm starting to notice even now as I go into the different, and I like how you say answer engines, because I think it sounds better than LLM. Answer engine sounds kind of cool. I'm going to coin that one.
It's easier to say, right?
Yeah, I like it. Answer engine, man. It sounds better
Yeah.
to me than LLM because you got to further define it.
Right. Right.
But if someone goes to ChatGPT or Claude or whatnot, and they put in Grant McGaw, I want to see what's coming up, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to be exactly the same, but it's very similar
Right.
As far as the information because it's pulling information directly from what I've given it, whether I've given it from LinkedIn, whether I've given it from my website, press releases, things like that, because I know in the background it's going to pull and it's going to pull from credible sources, and that's going to bring you forward. Am I correct in that assumption?
Yeah, and I think that's a really important thing to highlight. You're controlling the narrative of your story.
Yeah.
Very, 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 very smart and important, or someone else is going to do it for you. You don't want that.
Right. And you get negative press, right? And negative
Or
information.
negative press or no press, right?
Or no press.
Or not.
Or nothing at all.
Right.
So here's the question. Last question. Maybe. I can't guarantee that, but but outside of business, you're deeply engaged in your community and mentoring. I want to understand, what does that leadership philosophy, how does it show up in the way that you run your company?
I think it gives me a different perspective. So I'm the president of the board of my local YMCA.
Mm-hmm.
I one of the things that the YMCA does that means a lot to me, which is why I want to be involved, is the amount of things they give back to people. There are so many people in the community that I live in that can't work because they can't afford daycare, that they don't have a place to live, they can't afford a gym membership, and the Y is donating all that stuff and helping people so that they can become that. And so one of the reasons that I joined is when they had first asked me, my first thought is, I'm too busy. I have a lot of stuff to do at work. And then I thought to myself, you know what? I'm just pushing ones and zeros on a computer and I'm helping my clients make more money. That's not helping the world. So how can I give a little back? And I think that has helped me identify a lot more with people, identify a lot more with my employees. There's I don't know, part of it, I just feel good it feels good to help people.
Absolute social impact. I'm on the in the circle of making money for money's sake. It's good, but it has no value. It's like being on a deserted island, and if you have a bunch of money, what good is it? So what
Right.
are you doing to circulate the things that you're doing and bringing back the good work that's there? The money again, it should not be the end of the road. It's part of the road. It's part of the journey.
Right.
But that's not cyclical in a way. So how do you taking that goodwill and then regenerizing the social community, because that same community is accessing networks, they're
Yeah.
accessing websites, they're going to
Yeah.
Google, but if you're not enabling them in a certain way to be able to do that, then what are you doing? So
Right.
I like
Right.
how you position that. Now, here's my last question. And I like asking this question because I like to ask them of my guests in real time. This is your first experience with the Follow Brand podcast. Now you've gone through the interview process with me as the host. How did you like this interview?
The quality of the questions that you asked were fantastic. So this for me was a really stimulating conversation. I enjoyed it, and I learned a little bit more after speaking with you. So I think like those are like the it was fun, it was informative, it was challenging. Those are three perfect pieces to a
Absolutely. And
podcast
I
in my opinion.
learned a great deal. I think the audience learned a great deal about something, again, that's very pressing. It's just top of mind right now because things are just changing rapidly. So I like to see what's happening. Like, open up the hood. Let's look at the engine down there, our answer engine, right?
Yeah,
Our social engineering optimization. These are all these engines that are going on. But I really appreciate you taking the time
yeah,
to
I'm
do
happy to
this.
do that.
And you got to let us know how to contact you at Green Banana. And what is the best possible way?
So you can go to greenbananaseo.com, or you can't ask this to an answer engine because it's going to answer differently. But I kept losing my business cards years ago or forgetting them. So I ended up optimizing I just met Kevin. So if you Google I just met Kevin, you can get to my contact information. If you ask GTP, I just met Kevin, they're going to say, big deal. Who's Kevin, right? Right. So I just met Kevin, or you can go to greenbananaseo.com. And if I could say one more thing, I think
Yeah.
that will be helpful. When I first learned about AI, I was nervous about it. I'm scared. Like this is going to, this could be taking over my business. And the more that I study it and the more that I learn about it, the more I realize it is an amazing opportunity for growth, no matter what business you're in. So if you're listening to this and you're nervous, don't be nervous and learn more about it, because it will help you in some way or another, and it's not going away.
Absolutely. I encourage everyone. I just had this discussion with another group of people, and I put it in this way. Just like you need to understand, let's say, the Microsoft suite of software packages, whether it's email, PowerPoint, Excel, Word. You need to know these things. You need to know these things in today's business environment. You need to know AI. And AI is a lot of different things. It's not just an answer engine, that's LLM launch. That's a part of it. That's what people kind of used to know, but it's a lot more than that. There's a lot of automation that's taking place, content generation, whether it's video, audio, text. This is how business is getting done. This is speed to market. You cannot sleep on these things. I implore everyone to get involved with any kind of AI workshop that's going to upskill you on these platforms so that you become proficient at it.
Yeah. Or even just download Gemini or ChatGPT and start doing stupid things with it. You're going to learn. And you say, "Oh, I didn't know it could do this." Or if it gets the answer wrong or you don't get the output you want, who cares? Have
Oh,
fun with it, and you're going to start learning
yeah.
stuff,
And
and
you'll mold
you're
it
going to
to
start
yourself.
pushing
You
the
talked
limits.
about customization and personalization
Right.
earlier. Then
Right.
you start to realize you have a real assistant that's built just for you
Yeah.
that can help you along life's way. So that is great.
Agreed.
I want to make sure that all of your particular audience can tune in to all the episodes of Follow Brand. They can do
Yes.
so at 5-star BDM. That's the number 5. That's star STR. B for brand, D for development, M for masters.com. This has been wonderful, Kevin. I want to thank you so much and enjoy
Thank you.
enjoy the
Thank you.
rest of your weekend.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.